George, you are muted.
Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm seeing the numbers coming up here, about 193 people coming up. There's more coming in. But what I want is to maybe use this time to just recap a little bit before we go into the session. Now, today's session is basically on lead follow-up and conversion. The last 2 weeks we have gone through a lot, a lot in terms of learning together. But what I want is for you to recap. Today basically is Friday, the last when we started this particular series on crisis and opportunity. John came in and just basically challenged us to consider that, do you look at this as a crisis or as an opportunity? And today I'm seeing it more as an opportunity as I begin to hear some of the people that have actually shared over the last 2 weeks. I remember very specifically, basically John Quack. He started by saying basically it's a choice. It's a choice for you to choose today what you want to do, and it's a mindset whether you're actually playing the finite game or the infinite game. Very important. I want to play infinite game. I want to go for the long haul. I want to survive and I want to thrive. I also basically remember the one that the Wing shared about basically updating the market. And what I remember basically is the market is positive, it's moving. Do you see the opportunity that's there? Of course, there's going to be issues that's coming up. There's a lot of opportunities. And last week basically, this whole week we talk a lot about just a lead generation. So you're hearing a lot about lead generation. You're hearing a lot about follow-ups, and you're hearing a lot about conversion. Now, today, what I want is to provide some perspective and bring things together before I actually invite two of our panelists, Jackie Low and Tan, to come in, Tan Hee Cheong to come in and share their experiences. Now, Jackie basically have a lot of experience in the residential, and also the Tan Hee Cheong have experiences in the industrial. Now, before I get them to actually share what I want is to run through some of my slides to show you basically in some ways what exactly is lead generation, what exactly is follow-up, and basically where is conversion coming in, because we hear a lot, but the question is whether we understand. So I want to go in and basically reframe that before we get the panelists to look at some of the examples and how they are converting sales through follow-up. Okay, so let me just share my screen, and then I will go straight into that particular slide to help you understand before we go in. Okay, the hope you all can see my slides here. And what this slide shows is basically today's topic, lead follow-up and conversion. Now, question, this topic basically is very key because it brings out the concept of lead follow-up. It also brings out the importance of actually lead generation. It brings out the importance of follow-up, and then it brings out the importance of conversion. Now, question is, what is more important, lead generation, follow-up, or conversion? And I think John mentioned basically there are a few John in the Keller Williams today. But this John Lee, the big boss, he basically shared with us the three things. And I want to replay the slide that he shared because it's very important to realize that we need to be good in all three areas. And this is the slide that he shared with us, that in order for you to be effective there are three things that's important for every agent that you must do. You must be good in lead generation, follow-up, and conversion. Now, conversion is the same as closing. And most of us want to focus on closing alone. But we know that closing don't happen all the time. So we need to follow up before the closing comes. And we need to go in and do a lot of lead generation. And basically this week, we saw basically some of the people that are lead generating very strongly in the Tamanto market, in their own areas, looking at basically digital to come in to explore, getting success in the area, looking at basically cultivating a database. A lot of discussions be done on the lead generation side. And then on Wednesday, when the Lily came in, the group basically, is within 1 year experience, 2 years, and even 10 years. They share a lot about how they follow up with the clients and through a process begin to see results. And today, what I want is to bring the panelists into this whole area of conversion. What is it that happens in between to make sure the conversion actually works? And the other one is a successful agent is good in all three areas. In order to build a business in this falling order. Now, most of us, when we started off, now I'm in industry for 15 years. When I started out, basically I have a couple of training, and then I went out there to do a lot of field work, and I learned along the way. No one shares with me about models and systems. I don't have a model and system to follow. Technology at that point in time was very simple. We don't have, we don't have our property. We don't have a, in fact, in order for us to go in and network together, we have to go to the office, build a group together, and then we go in and then share. So there are a lot of community there, but technology is not the place. But what we have learned from Keller Williams today, in order for it to be successful, you must start with the model and systems. And then you must understand that technology can support that. And you look at yourself and the people you work with, how to grow that. And that's what we're going to look at lead generation. Look at lead generation as a model and what are systems we need to follow. And then look at technology, which is KW command to come in to actually help us build that. Or if you're in Excel, how to develop that further so you can actually progress. And then look at maybe yourself and a team that can support you. Very important to have that particular things in order. Now, what you see over here right now basically is is something that we talk a lot about. This is the lead generation model that under Keller Williams one they follow, and command follows this one here. And there are 3 buckets there. The first bucket is the lead generation. The second bucket is the database, and the third bucket is sales pipeline. Now, the first bucket itself on the top, the lead generation, it really breaks down into 2 categories. One is on prospecting. The other one is marketing. Now, prospecting is where you go to the people. Marketing is where they come to you. Prospecting is cheaper but time consuming. Marketing is more expensive, but again, it has a bigger reach. So the goal is that in prospecting and marketing is that you capture the information of the client and put it into your database. Okay, that's the first thing to remember. And most of them shared when you lead generation is that they want the information to be stored into the database. The second one is when you go through that one, you begin to understand that now the key is once you're a name, you must start building your database so they can follow up with them and then you get connecting with them. So the 2 things is you want to convert leads to contact. Now, leads are basically people that have a one-way relationship with you. This is where we use a plan that's called Smart Plan. For example, an 8x8. So you touch the person 8 times over 8 weeks so that you build a relationship. It's not one way, it becomes 2 ways. So one is 2 ways, the lead becomes a contact. So contact is a 2-way permission-based relationship that a person, when they call him, will dialogue with you and talk to you. You can send information in the person, you can build a rapport with him. Then you put him on another plan that's called Smart Plan, 33 touches. You touch him 33 times over a period of 1 year. So what we're doing, we are building the relationships and stay connected with the clients so that whenever they want to buy something, they'll remember us. Now, this process could be in a database for 1 year to even up to 10 years. Now, just for a check today, if you have been in the industry for more than 5 years, go to your Google, check the contact and scroll down and see how many people you have. And I was just having fun with Cheong just yesterday. I said, how many contacts? He thought he had about 300 contacts. When they scrolled down to the database at the end, he realized that, wow, I have more than 5,000 people on my phone. But of course, basically not all of them will buy. Question, how do you manage that? Okay. So the first one is that you must understand the lead generation is important. You capture information. Then you must build the database and begin to convert the lead into a contact. Now, once you build that up, the question is that most of us wants to have, with our database, we always want to go in and close deals. And the deals that we want normally are deals that are, this guy, he goes into this database, he begins to go fishing. He throws his slot and hope that he catch something that's big. And again, is that unless you're like Christopher Wong, generally you can catch big fish. Most of us basically might go there for a day, we get a good suntan, we might not catch anything. But what we are hoping to do is that we want to catch this. We want to catch big fish. Every one of you today that's sitting here, you have been industry, could be 1 year, could be 5 years, could be 10 years. All of you want the same thing, including myself. I want to go out fishing and I want to catch fish like that. Let me share the reality. Have you caught your big fish yet? And some of you have caught a big fish in 1 year, but you cannot repeat the process. It's not easy to catch big fish. It requires skill, it requires expenses, but really that's our desire. But over time, maybe this is possible. So goal of lead follow-up and conversion is that hopefully you'll have a combination of big and small fish, and you're doing it because you're enjoying it. While you're having fun, most of the time a fish will come. And then after that, we go into the third bucket. This third bucket is where we look at the fact that now these people that we built in, we want to start cultivating the relationship that we're able to go in and do something with them. Now, if you notice a step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, we are actually at step 4 right now. Now, at this point in time, someone have an intent to hire you as their agent. That basically they want to go in and they want to buy something over the next 6 months to 1 year. Because you know that they want to buy something, you want to follow up with them a lot closer. This is where in some ways the agents have to work through the process. Let me just remove my screen a little bit. I'm blocked. Now, at this point in time, in cultivating, you're actually cultivating their relationship, nurturing them, qualifying them, so that you can have an appointment. So that's in appointment is step 5. If with the appointment, you're hoping to go in and to basically get an active listings with buyer and seller, and they are engaging you as the agent to actually help them find a house or basically sell their house. So that's what they call active. And then when you go under contract, it means you're successfully able to either find the buyer a house or you're able to sell the house of the person. It's under contract. And eventually when it close, you follow through and then the process goes back in our database. So really in terms of a lead generation model, these are the 3 buckets: lead generation, database, and the sales pipeline. And today really what we want is to focus on the sales pipeline. I know I don't have a lot of time, so but I want this concept to be clear with you all. You know, when you talk lead generation, the first portion, second portion, and the third portion. Now, the problem with a lot of people is that where they fail is that most agents today, we are telling you, find a motivated buyer and seller. If those people don't want to buy now and don't want to buy in the next 2 months, don't worry about them. But what we are saying is not that you don't worry about them, you follow up with them later. You put them in the pipeline and work them later. So because you want to go in and close now, you neglect follow up and you don't cultivate the relationship with these people. So most agents get distracted. Some of them basically wants to serve the customers that are buying now. Some of them see projects elsewhere and they begin to say that maybe I should do this, do that. You get distracted and you're not sure what to do. So clarity is important. And basically next week when I go in and talk about the 4 conversations with the coach, they will provide clarity for you, because clarity is power. The more you're clear is important. And we want to learn from people that are successful today, because success leaves clues. You know, the more we know what they do, we can actually help. So the transition is basically understand lead generation is important, and the fact that today we are moving into the sales pipeline. So question for me to you is basically, do you have a sales pipeline? Do you have people that you have built up, they can follow through, that you know they're going to buy from you in 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days? If not, there's something for you to look into. And you know, if you join us next week on Friday we'll talk about that a little bit. What exactly are the 4 conversations? Your listings, your appointments, your listings, your closing. At the end of the day, whether you're actually having any profit. So it's very important to follow through that. Okay. Now, when you go through this process, what this Jackie and Cheong will share with you is just how they basically took care of their customers. They feed their customers, you know, because the customer is a very small pond. It's not a big ocean. They know where they're at. They know where they're staying. They know which area they're focusing in. Even industry, you know, have a small segment. You basically go in, and depends on what you feed them. If you feed them good food, they grow a little bit bigger. If you take care of them, they won't fall sick. They will begin to grow. And when they start growing, eventually, when they grow big enough, you can cultivate and you work with them. It's really what we want as an agent is not to go in and do a lot of deep sea fishing. We want to cultivate our relationship with our clients so that when they're ready to buy, we are there. So the question is, are you taking care of the people in your database? Are you working with them? Are you engaging with them to the point that when they want to engage to buy a property, they will actually call you? Okay. Now, before I go into this one here, now this last 2 slides I want to share with you. Then I'll go to the panelists. Now, this whole thing, there's always a process, and these are a process that sometimes we don't see. We say that the person close deal, the person lead generate, but in between, there are 7 things that will happen. One is that there must be a lead conversion that happen. They will actually follow up with the client, pre-listing, qualify the client. They will actually go into the client, do a listing presentation, listing consultation to find out actually what exactly the client wants. In fact, I actually went for one appointment with Tan where he go in and he was talking to the client. All he was doing is asking questions and listening to find out what the person wants before even going in to propose anything. And then once you got the listing, you figure a way to service your client and you market for them. Most of us go in and start marketing without understanding what our client wants. And towards the end, there's going to be an offer and negotiation stage where you go in and help the owner deal with her offer and negotiate to get the best deal for both the buyer and the seller. So there's a win-win relationship there. And towards the end, basically you close the contract. Now, the problem after you close the contract, most of us stop there. We don't ask for the referral. We don't ask for business. And you can see these people here, how they go in. There's a post-close system where they ask for the business and they follow through so that basically they have a continual business that's there. So this 7-step process one is important. Now, if you're keen to understand this 7-step process, when we plan, when we organize a particular seminar called Win with Buyers, if you're interested to actually join that, put basically a yes on the chat box, and maybe we can decide how to actually organize that for you. And towards the end, today we are talking about this 4-step lead conversion process. It's about capturing the information, connecting with the client, build a relationships, and then close. Now, the one is a closing for the appointment. The other one is closing for the sale. There are two different things, but it's also a closing. For people as new, learn to close an appointment, but the process is the same. You capture, you build a relationship, you close. Now, if you cannot close, you cultivate. You work with them, and eventually, when they're ready, you actually go for another close. Okay. So let's move on to the panelists now and see how they go in and work through this 4 process. Let me put on my chat box also. Okay, guys. Now, I wanted to share this because part of my strength base coming in is I always wanted to share with you some concepts before I go into the panelists so they understand what they are saying here. Now, now we'll start with actually Jackie at this point. Now, Jackie, basically, can you tell us a little bit more about yourself? How long you've been in industry, and basically what are you focusing on? And how do you maintain this passion for the real estate? You just need to unmute yourself, right, Jackie?
Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting me, George, to share. I do not know why. Okay, I've been in this industry for 30 years. 30 years, all right. And it has been a long journey, which I have learned a lot during my 30 years. Of course, the landscape of the real estate industry has shifted from the time I joined until now. All right. And the reason why I can sustain, probably I have the passion for in real estate to meet people and able to help them to get their home. So that's why, yes, of course, another reason, the big one is for my family to provide them. So these are the two why. Yeah, why I'm able to sustain for 30 years.
Well, Jackie, the 30 is almost as long as Refill in existence, 35 years or more. So like
Yeah.
in the industry one, you've seen the ups and downs and the
Yes.
passion there in the industry there. Now, basically one, when you started off actually last time in the industry, has it changed a lot last time and now?
Oh, definitely it's a lot. And
What are
the
some of the
agent now
ways you
are
have changed?
the agent now are very fortunate. They have the technology, they have a handphone. During my time, I don't have handphone. I don't even have a pager. So everything we have to do it manually, just be patient. That's why maybe that is cultivate my patience in order to do this business. Because everything is different. We only have millennial, and we have to go appointment without knowing whether the buyer will turn up or not. So we have to set a time to wait for the client for maybe 30 to 45 minutes. So, and we had to use a telephone booth to call them. So that's how we did our business during that time.
My goodness, I remember that, Jackie. There's not just that, but my Nokia phone can only store 10 numbers. It took a lot. And today we have thousands. So the technology is limited, but yet again, we are able to close deals. Thanks for sharing that. What about yourself, Tan? Tell a little bit about basically just about yourself, where you're focusing on, and basically how do you maintain your passion in this industry?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good morning. Thanks, George, for inviting me. Just like Jackie said, I don't know why. Okay, I joined Redfield starting from 2014. So until now, it's about 7 years, but not yet reached the 7 years. What each? Not yet. So before this, I was working in 4 different multinational companies and in 5 different countries for almost 30 years. So how do I keep my passion? I think there are a few factors. Maybe the first factor is for all these past 5 or 6 years, I managed to maintain a relatively good relationship with most of my clients. That's very important. And the second factor is somehow I'm lucky enough to maintain a consistent, relatively good result. So mainly these 2 factors that reinforce each other. That's how I'm still in this line now. Okay.
Okay, thanks for sharing that. Just remember, basically, just your experiences in your before job real estate. Actually, you deal with a lot of people. So coming over to this slide, you're still dealing with people, but the product just changed there. So I think you use a lot of your expertise in the past to actually help you today in building that now. So good. I'm glad basically because I know you for the last 7 years. So I know generally both Jackie and Tan, they are very quiet people, but they are closing deals consistently. So because they're closing, they are maintaining, because part of the passion that Jackie mentioned is that she wants to be a provider also for the family. And that's what she has been doing for the last basically 30 years. Same thing with Tan. She's looking at something that's alternative, that gives him the freedom to go through that one. Again, your why is very important, because your big why will drives you. You don't have a strong reason to come into this industry, it's very easy for you to give up. Huh? Now let's go back, understand the lead generation model now. I know that people talk a lot about lead generation, but let's just maybe talk a little bit about lead generation part. The lead generation before COVID and now the Tan, has it changed for you? Are you doing anything different the last year and this year?
Actually, for me, regarding the lead generation part, I am a little bit more conservative. And because so far it works for me, that's why I did not explore the new ways. So basically, I heavily depends on what you call banner and my clients. These are the two, not only my clients, I also heavily depends on the what you call center of influence. So these are my three pillars that support, make sure I have continuously leads coming in.
Can you elaborate a little bit more time? What do you mean by center of influence?
Oh, center of influence, example, those people like we are active in Arana Mansara and Subang Jaya and those people who have a lot of contacts and have a lot of information regarding that area that we are working on. Okay, so like some example, there are some body want to sell or somebody want to rent, they will quickly inform me like that. So before other people know, I know already. So before the tender move up, I already know already.
Okay.
So I have to do it before other people do something.
Okay, fantastic. Which basically you have all your feelers or spies out there that basically will tell you whether it's going to be cleaners, security guard, things that basically these people that knows you enough that you will be able to give you a head start in terms of where the business comes in. So banner itself works for you, referral works for you, and the banner itself is probably the size of the banner, small and big. Industry is slightly different. What about you, Jackie? Basically, how do you lead generate? Do you have actually, is it different before and now?
Okay, actually, I'm same as Tan. We are using the old school way, It's quite difficult for us to come out of the comfort zone, and because since we have result, so we are using the same old. But for me, I realized that because I was resting for a year actually since 2019, I just came in back to work in July. But I realized something that I think it is time for me to switch my way of lead generation. All right. So I think tech enable is a powerful way. And I've been listening to our training, especially the command, which I think I have to explore into that. All right. Definitely I have to explore. I have to in order to sustain. No way. Of course, I have been getting leads for my old way of hotel listing it through iProperty. Most of my leads are from there and through Sideboard and also from many referrals actually because I'm long in this industry. Yeah. So there is time to change lah, I would say.
Good. Again, I'm glad to hear that, Jackie, because even after 30 years, I can sense the passion that you have. But you need a period of time to rest, take care of yourself, take care of your needs, take care of the family. And again, is to go in and recharge, so they come back in strong. But at the same time, you're willing to embrace technology to do that one. So for people that are in the industry more than 10 years, there's hope for you. Don't get stressed up with technology. Go at a slower pace, adjust it, go in. And that's where eventually you understand that some of these areas you can leverage. So you can get other people to actually help you. So the lead generation for them is simple, just like me, very simple. We go with signboards, we go with the people that we know to actually come in to get business for us. Now let's move on to the second bucket, which is the follow-up side. Now, how do you go in? How do you qualify your clients and how do you follow up with them? Do you have a system in place that you're doing that? Let's start with Tan at this point. Is the industrial one slightly different from the residential?
Again, what's your question again? Sorry.
Now now that you've actually generated with signposts and all that, how do you follow up with your clients? I mean, is your clients very big database? How do you follow with them? How do you qualify them? How do you how do you maintain the relation with them? Do you still use
Actually,
computer phone?
before I follow up, is very important. I do qualify them and also grade them, whether they are grade 1 or grade 2 or grade 3 leads. It's very important because once we do a proper grading, then we put priority on the first grade example. So in order to qualify them, as you said just now, normally whenever anybody approach me, I will ask them a lot of questions. I want to make sure how serious they are and how clear they are. Like example, if they want to buy something, are they clear what are they looking for? Are they clear what is their budget? Don't be surprised, some of the old buyer, they are not clear, but they are serious. So for this case, I do come in and help them. I will propose myself to help them. Since you're not so clear, do you mind I come to the existing factory and go through with you? Then in that way, I can propose a suitable property for you. Things like this. I may even go as far as this, because I can do that because before joining Redfield, for past 30 years, I was in and out of factories, like I'm in and out of house. So I'm very familiar in this aspect. So it gives me advantage of giving them guideline and helping them. Okay.
Okay, again, it's because your familiarity with the environment, the factory, you're very comfortable and you understand what the client needs, and you basically ask questions to clarify, and then you categorize them into a few categories to do that. Now, again, it's later on, which I think you're going to share some of the examples with them. So we are looking forward to actually hearing from you. But let's move on to Jackie first. Jackie, in terms of your follow-up system and then how you qualify people, is it slightly similar to Tan or a bit different?
I think it's similar in a way. I think I also grade them, whether hot, warm, and lukewarm. And that's where I be follow up so that we know how to manage the time. And as he said, it's very sure a lot of buyers, they do not know what they want actually. So we do have to help them and advise them accordingly along the way. And of course, some of them, they are reluctant to share. So that's where you need to gain their trust so that they'll listen. To start with listening, they must like you first. So from liking you is not enough. In order to trust, then we can do business with them. So the trust is very important. So we must have to know our homework. If we are, I specialize in Sumanjaya, so I have to know everything about Sumanjaya, the pricing, everything. So in order to help them. So I know, I think that is all about it, same as Tan.
Yeah, just curious, basically, some of the clients that you're following up, do you have clients that have been with you for more than 10 years, 20 years?
You mean they are still in the market?
That they're still asking you to, no, because I remember one incident where I have a listing in USJ 11, 21st and 5 house, it's for 900 plus. And then you brought one of the buyer to take a look, but you're very clear what the buyer wants. And the buyer only want to use Jackie, nobody else. So those kind of clients that actually buy things from you before they offer their children, how long has some of those clients been with you?
Actually, the client has not been with you me long. Just she referred to my sideboard, but I'm able to help her to, as you say, I qualified her, and to know their needs. So that's where I'm able to propose the right property, because I know I don't want to waste time to propose the wrong property. So in order to do that, we have to know their needs, their budget, their needs, and the location they want. Okay, we are talking of more than 10 years for buyer, which I think something is not right.
It could be seller, not so much buyer.
Seller, yes, seller definitely. I have many sellers I'm still in touch even after 25 years. So I still have business from them actually. Yeah.
That means basically almost like instead of a family doctor, you're the family real estate agent.
Yeah.
If you have one, they will say, please go in and talk to Auntie Jackie. Let's work through that.
Yes.
Okay. Now the other thing to look at is, because I say it looks like for both of you you spend a lot of time when you're actually following your clients to build rapport with them, and you ask a lot of questions. Now, one of the things that basically I do, because I'm in this 15 years, I also do the same thing to build rapport with them. But I use basically what I call the who, what, where, when, why, and a how question. Ask them question basically, so I know a little bit where they're at. Basically, who is going to be staying in the house, so that you know basically where to buy, whether you need a room downstairs for the family is there. Where are you actually staying right now? Because we know that basically they're staying in Puchong and they want to move to Subang, for example. The reason is could be because of education. So where are the areas that we have looked at that you think is important. So by asking those questions itself, you're able to go in and guide. So I think for those of you that say, what questions they ask, that could be a way that you use that. Basically, who, what, where, when, what, why, and how. How you going to finance the property when you buy it. Have you checked with the bank loan side one? Again, if you go through one, I think they'll go through and give you some examples as you do that. Now, basically, we have talked about lead generation. You have talked about follow-up. Now, basically, I want to move into what is more important, which really is the fact that when you follow up with them, you're able to convert them. So basically, Tan, can you just share with us some of your, because I talk about the 7 stages going through from lead conversion to the point that you negotiate and then you close. Can you share with us some of the examples of clients that you have that you follow through and then you close them? Some of the exciting clients. Share with us some of your examples.
I think regarding follow through, I think sometimes I have to be very patient, and sometimes I cannot afford to have patience. So there are extreme cases, okay. But all these I closely follow up on is it got to be a grade 1 leads. Once it's a grade 1 leads, I have to decide this one is it got to do it immediately. If I don't do it immediately, other people will do it. Then you got nothing. Then another extreme case is also grade 1, but then the situation tells us we cannot close it immediately. For example, the seller is a very serious seller, but the price is too high. Even though the property is in a hot area, not possible to sell. Not to say not possible, it's not likely to sell. So for this case, we have to be very patient, very patient. It may take 1 year, 2 years or more. So maybe I start with the one that I have to be very patient one first,
okay.
which is I think started last year. Okay. In fact, these 3 cases is still under contract. I already, under contract. No need to explain.
Okay. That means these 3 cases you close it recently one and you're following through, so they're under contract or pending, but it's just that the SPA is not signed yet. So these are very hot cases.
Okay, so the first example, which I have to be very patient, started last year. So one of the strangers called me. He said, "Oh, here is one factory in Jalan Subang for one to sell." So first thing I was curious, how you get my contact? All this is very important to me, so that I know who is helping me. So in fact, it's one of my clients. Okay, so he explained to me about his property, and then he explained to me about the price that he wants. But then I digest through. I know this I have to be very patient, because the market price for that kind of property at that area is around 900,000. So he's asking for 1.2 million. The reason of asking 1.2 million, he also have a reason, because he spent a lot of money renovating that warehouse or factory. He renovated very nice. He spent about 400,000 and converted to become a small trading school. So as usual, I also went there and go and do detailed study. So I did explain to him, yes, it may worth 1.1 or 1.2. But provided I must find the right buyer who need to use this kind of facility. But I also explained to him, in this kind of area, to find this kind of buyer maybe not that easy. So I have to explain to him. He said, "Oh yeah. But can you please help?" Yes, I can help. So in order to show that I'm still working on it. So last year, actually I didn't spend a lot of time, because I know it doesn't work. So I also did maybe bring one or two clients to let him to see the factories to show that he knows I'm working on it. But occasionally he's call me, occasionally I call him like that. So last year not much activity, but I still keep that because that is a hot area, and I know he's serious in selling, but he's not ready. So come to this year, he called me again. Hey, Tan, I'm still very serious to sell, but I can compromise a bit on price. So I say, how much? Say maybe around 1 million. To me, around 1 million still high. So I say, okay, I still try again. So whatever I did last year, I still repeat. So until about 3 months ago, he called me again. But before that, I do on and off educate him. How do I educate him and how do I influence him? Whenever there's a new closing, either rental or sales, I keep him informed so that he knows the trend. So he knows the actual situation. So that hopefully all this information help me to lower down his expectation. But I think for this case, I successfully influence him. And also because of his situation, because I can sense that he needs money. So once he lowered down expectation and he needs money, and these few factors come together, then it's easy to work on it. So he said, he asked me what should I expect? So I told him, based on last two transactions, which one of them was closed by me, it's only around 800 or not more than 850. So he think, okay lah, if you have this, then he's willing to consider. Once with his commitment like this, then I can spend all my time on this deal already. I go through all my potential buyers and I check with all their neighbors. Then finally I found one. Then that's how I close. So for this case, I got to be very patient. But I mean, I know it's workable because I know this buyer is serious and I know this area is hot. That's why I can afford to be patient. So this is one extreme case. I have to be very patient. So let me go.
Just to recap what you just say, Tan, is the fact that if you hear what Tan is saying now, for those that basically have questions, please type in the chat box, and we have time. We'll go through some of this one here. But what he was telling us basically is that he spent some time to educate the clients to know what the client actually would want, and then basically he also go in and follow up with them because if the price is very high, then he has to move the price actually down. So he's very patient. From a property that's 1.2 million, eventually it was sold. I don't know where it sold, about 900,000 now. So that's very key to actually follow through with that one. Now the whole idea is basically that you need to be patient to follow up with them, and then you need to figure out how to work with them, updating them constantly so that basically when it's time to ready, you are there. And you come across really as a local expert. You know the product, you know the area, you know what will transact. You update the clients to make sure that it's okay. And when it's coming to a point that it can close, you are actively going around the whole neighborhood to look for people like that, because you know that basically these are people that will be interested to buy something in that particular area. So the process is that you are actually going through because you understand. Thanks for sharing that. Now, before you share the second one, let's jump into Jackie and see how Jackie can share with us. Jackie, what about yourself? Basically, any particularly challenging cases that you're actually working through?
Presently, I have two. It's a commercial shops in Subanjaya. So I'm still in negotiation stage. So basically, the owner is quite firm, but however, the lister is not me because I co-agent, so I'm not in control in the sense. But I'm still in touch with my buyer. That I told him that I will still follow up on and off and update him accordingly. Even now, the price is not accepted by the owner. I think that's important because the buyer is serious. Just that I need to talk to the agent to how to influence his owner. So this is one of the case. And another case I have is office, grade A office. Presently, the buyer has some issue on the finance side because their money is being frozen. So there's still a warm buyer, a hot buyer, but just that their money cannot be utilized. So I believe I will follow up by next year. They probably will come back to me. And The challenges I have lately is more on the pricing, and I managed to convince, or rather talk to the owner to lower down the price. I think basically the pricing is the factor now, right now. Most of the listing is a factor, and there are buyers, especially in Subanjai. The activity is quite hot. For the last 2 months, there are many transactions in Subanjaya, and there are those who are property is in right pricing, all has been taken up. So existing is how are we going to get a right motivated owner, and in order to do that, we must know to manage their expectation. So, but I would think that it's a matter of getting the right buyer right now, because of the COVID-19 and the CMCO. So few of my buyers that they are holding on to view the property. So I just hope that after 9 of November, that activity can be conducted accordingly. That's the challenge I'm facing right now.
Yeah, but do you follow up with a client closely?
Yes, I follow up closely with them. So I send them message, and sometimes I will talk to them, and I will still propose property to them. Yes.
I think basically you also realize that some of the properties, if it's high price in the market, you actually talk to the owner yourself. Now,
Yes.
at this point in time, just to check, do you have any properties that is a good buy in Subang Jaya area at this point that you think that some of the listening here will be interested? The agent. Any good properties in Subang that you think basically is worth considering?
The White House Story Corner I have now, the price has dropped recently from 900 to 850 negotiable. So I think that is quite a good listing. Yeah. Other than that, there's one semi-D which I don't think the wife is motivated to sell, but not the husband. But husband is a decision maker. So other than that, the right price I sold it. So there's no good buy at the moment.
Yeah. But the One House Story Corner one, how much land do you have in that particular unit?
15 feet at the side.
15 feet, and you mentioned basically what the price have gone in from
900 to 850 negotiable.
And it is a value buy. Now, what exactly has been a transaction in that area when you say it's a value buy?
Okay, recently there was done deal same design. The site is slightly bigger only, just one row behind. Corner lot, it was sold for 1.095. Of course, that one is slightly renovated. So if you ask me for a basic unit and well kept, so it's a good deal. Yeah, it's a good deal. Okay, I'm comparing corner to corner lah.
Okay, that means for a corner that's priced at above 1 million to one that's below 1 million, even the land is not 20, 15 feet, it's something to propose to go try.
Yes.
Now, I also realized that when I've seen the house before, you have a signboard there. Are you getting a lot of response for a signboard?
I get many response.
That means basically that particular listing is able to generate more buyers for you.
Yes.
Do you get more response from that particular signboard actually from iProperty or other ways?
Yes, I got it from signboard, my leads. Majority, yeah.
So good. Now, did you advise the owner to actually go in and do anything with the house?
Yes, I did, because it was I've been handling the point for 25 years on rental.
You have been handling this client for how long?
25 years.
25 years, huh? Okay.
Okay. So it was very rundown. He took over and he called me to give my advice. So I told him, definitely you have to do up the whole house before I can put up for sale. And he listened to my advice. I think he spent around 20,000 to do it.
The owner was willing to spend about 20,000 to actually put it up to that. Now, yes. To help the owner in terms of the renovation, did you recommend anyone to help?
No, because he already has a regular contractor on his own.
Okay, that means generally I said again this process I'm going through with Jackie to understand that when you go in and lease a house, there's many things that you need to do. That means you need to go in and check the market value, find out what is available in the area, engage with the owners, work with them. But the key point to take home is the fact that that particular house that is actually nice, put in the market, generated a lot of buyer leads for her. And these people that look at signboard, most of them are actually motivated, because otherwise they won't go around look at the neighborhood. It's just whether if you cannot find this one here, it's whether you can buy another property. Yes. But thanks for sharing, Jackie. Now back to you, Tana. Let's share the other one that's also challenging for you.
I think time is running out. I think I would say only two. The other extreme was very patient. Then for this extreme, I cannot afford to be very patient. I have to do it immediately. So actually, it happened just recently, about 2 months ago. One of the big owner, He called me. Oh, one of his medium-sized warehouse is going to be available on 1st of January 2021. Okay, I take note because factory is like this. Normally, a few months ahead, they would let me know. So for this case, immediately I go through. I check. Oh, recently I handled one case. There's one tenant from China want to look for around 8,000 square feet warehouse, but he needs it immediately. And I think it was about 3 months ago, but I couldn't find it. And he also couldn't find from other agents. So I look at it, hey, these two very similar. It's only time factors, not same. So I call up the owner. In fact, for this case, the result was quite interesting. It ends up is one listing, one property have 2 closing. So I mean the extra income lah. So I immediately call up the owner. Hey, is it possible you ask the tenant, your current tenant, to vacate earlier? So we will start it immediately. But this owner, he has a lot of property. He stick to the rules. No, cannot. Their company principle is they have to follow the contract. So if that's the case, I said, then how about, is it possible I work with your tenancy, whether possible or not? But luckily, I have a good relationship with this owner. She said, well, if you want, you go and try. I have no objection. So immediately I go and see the warehouse. Oh, I look at the warehouse. The tenant is renting 3 units. Okay, and then the one that he's going to vacate is half vacant. So if it's half vacant, that means it tells me from all the information I have, it tells me the business is going downhill. So it's highly possible he can vacate the premises. So immediately I call up the owner, get all the details of the tenant. Okay, then immediately I go and talk to the tenants. So you know lah, some tenants, they are very arrogant. Immediately, no lah, I want to use until end of the month. I will follow contract lah, things like this. Then I still continue to chat with him. Then I realized, hey, he is also one of my neighbors. So that's how we can talk. So before I leave, then he finally said, hey, okay. Hey, how about that? We rent to you half of the units. Oh, half of the units. Then if half the units you are renting around 14,000, so then the rental also half lah, right? Oh yeah. So if that's the case, okay, you wait for a short while. I immediately call up the tenant. But my client said, oh, he is now renting 4 units, smaller factories. So all the contract is going to expire now. So I say, why don't you? I give him a proposal. Why don't you give up 2 and then maintain 2 until end of the year? Talk to your owner. If you want, I can also help you to talk. Then finally he come back to me. Okay, possible. So in fact, through this transaction, it tells us we have to be sometimes think of something we initially think is not possible. So it ends up, I signed the agreement to rent with the master tenant for 3 months, which I also collect a commission from them, from the master tenant. Then at the same time, I also signed the tenancy agreement with the owner. So 2 together. So, and for this case, if I wait, probably I cannot wait. Both also I cannot close. I lost the tenant, I lost the owner. So this is what I mean by I have to do it immediately.
Well, that means basically you're helping them to actually make decisions by facilitating the decision process. And from the way that you talk, it looks like basically you have a lot of confidence to deal with both the owner and the tenant. Because you know them and you're able to go in and match the process to look at options for them to come in and make a sale. So end of the day, I think as an agent, you have the interest of both parties in mind and you're actually helping them. That's very important. So thanks for sharing that. Now, because of time-wise, Tan will not be able to share the third example. That one, if you want to, you have to personally invite him for a teh tarik or yam cha so that he can go in and explore. But you realize basically when you go in industry, a lot of these issues are quite exciting. Basically it's almost like going in and watching a movie and see what will unveil the next one over. But let's say when you go through that one, it doesn't seem like he's affected by COVID so much. It looks like basically he's just thinking through which grade the customers is and then begin to how to help them. Now moving on, basically Jackie, the you have shared a lot about basically the qualities of patience to come in. Now, what are some of the qualities that you think today as agents they need to have in order to go in and be successful in this industry? What are some of the qualities that you think that the agents need to have besides just patience? Any others?
I think being honest, not self-centered, think for the more on by the clients, you know. I mean, you have to think of helping them, not for your own benefit. With your sincere heart. Okay, I think basically a lot of agents probably they will think that they will help those who are doing business with them in a way that say, for example, I have many clients they will call me for consultation because some area I do not cover, for instance, Cheras or whichever area. So sometimes they have any problem, they'll call me to consult me in a sense. All right. So I think this is very important that we will help them. Even sometimes they might buy a property in Subang, not through me. They will consult me. All right. Which I think is a good buy. I will ask them to go ahead. You know? So which means I don't think of my own benefit, but I will think of their benefit to help them to get the home that they wanted. You know, so I think that is important because you are doing sincerely with your heart. So that's why maybe I get referral quite often. Yeah. So that's what I feel that's very important.
Okay, sincere integrity, have a desire to want to help other people. That you're actually other-centered rather than only. So you're thinking of ways to add value to the client to do that. Huh? But do you think it's challenging today now for those agents that are struggling to actually close their deals and working through? What would be your advice for them? What do you think the agents need to do if they are doing, you know, they are disciplined, they're hardworking, they're following up, they're not able to close deal yet? What would be your advice for them?
Be patient, and probably need to sit down and find out a self-check on what exactly is the issue. Whether is it because you do not know the market well, that where you are doing, and I think that's important. I can't tell them because everyone is different. They are going through what they are going through. So I think that's important to get a coach, a mentor, you know, to guide them accordingly. I think that's very important. You need a coach lah, you know.
Yeah, correct. Someone that can give perspective to you and help you to think through some of the issues there.
Correct.
Because the mistake I think the agents will do is trying to figure out on it by themselves. You know, when things not happening, you need another perspective to come in and relook at it. Because sometimes we think that basically we are not doing the right thing. So the person telling me you're doing the right things, you just need to be patient, persistent, stay on the course. And basically go back to the important things of lead generating, follow up, to go through that. Because I say today one, I always say it used to be the when you work with buyers and sellers is easy. The water is very clear, you see them. Today the water is very muddy and not clear. So the intentions are clear. So beside the design or the buy or the sell, there's a lot of factors come in that you cannot control. It's for agents to really have perspective and having support to come in to provide that. So the community and the support I think is important. Whether it's from a coach, from each other, or from someone that you can trust in the industry. So that's very important to do that. Now basically the Tan, let me just check with you here. Now the next 5 minutes that we have what is your superpower? What do you think the clients really want to work with you?
Actually, to be frank, I don't have superpower. But I believe I focus on a few things. That is what my clients want. First is like what Jackie said. I really focus on service. Number one, and I never do hard selling because I'm dealing with all very smart people. Once they detect I'm doing hard selling, they avoid me already. So for my case, I avoid hard selling. I focus on servicing. And whenever possible, I do a suitable advice and information to them, which I think is useful to them. Okay. In fact, throughout, these past few years, I find that a lot of my clients, all kind of problems, they come to me for consultations, including looking for workers, cannot get the rental and all this. So another thing is discipline. Discipline is very important because once we have right discipline, then it's easier to get trust from your client. Okay, very important. Once you got the trust from the client, whatever we said, then it's easier. It's easier. Okay. So basically,
yeah, that means you're basically saying that basically your strength will be the fact that you provide excellent service to the client and you're able to go be as a discipline as a person to know how to deal with this situation. But at the same time, you know, I remember the saying basically people don't care how much you know until you know how much you care. So apparently your clients trust you, and then you have shown care to them enough that they believe that you can help them. So when they come to you, you don't turn them away. You become a consultant to them. Whatever issue. So you listen to your client, you connect with the client, and it's, because of that one, they don't mind working with you. So they like to work with you versus other agents that maybe don't take the time to find out what exactly is the real needs. So I think it's important that you realize that your service, your discipline, again, is able to build trust, because I think the clients sees that. What about Jackie? What exactly do you think is your strength or your superpower?
My strength probably is patience, honesty. These are the two things. I think patience is very important. Really, patience is very important. Yeah, and how to manage the expectation of your client. I think these are the three things that you need. Yeah.
Now repeat this. The three is patience,
Honesty.
honesty, and the third one is
Expectation. Manage the expectation of your
patience,
client.
honestly, managing the expectation of client, because when it comes to closing, managing expectation is important, because it's always an issue of pricing and terms. So if you manage them and you facilitate the decision process, very key. So that basically you go in and then you're able to close. Sometimes you cannot close because you don't manage the expectation of the client.
Yes.
But I think you do very well, because you'll make sure that basically you advise them accordingly. Thanks for sharing that, Jackie. Now, just basically before we actually go in and close, I'm going to go in and for you to share some insights to with the people. Now, before I pass for the announcement, are there questions that you guys have that you can maybe put down in the chat box that we can ask? Now, for those that are in the virtual support, any questions that we can actually put forward to this particular panelist for them to ask?
There's one from. So just now, Tan mentioned that there's one case that there was a revise in price. So the question came from Janice Yap. She asked, do you sign a new appointment to sell for a new revised price?
Okay, Tan, you want to answer that one?
You're talking about my first example, right?
Yes.
Actually, no. Once the owner said he is willing to be very flexible on his expectation on pricing, so I just convey to him that I found one buyer. Actually, I found a few. To cut it short, finally I found one buyer who is willing to offer that price, and she agreed on this. Once he agreed on this, I get both parties to sign and finish. That's all.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me say thank you to you. So, question from Isabel. How if the client always take advantage of you being honest? That's to Jackie, right? So I think one of the most honest.
Well, I think there's nothing to lose. There's nothing to lose. However, you have to be wise, lah. Do not allow them to take advantage of you. All right. Even they take advantage of you, I think always believe is doing what you want others to do it to you. That's all. I can control what I want to do, but I cannot control what others want to do. So I still will continue being honest. That's my response. Yeah. Of course, you have to be wise, lah. You have to be wise. Sometimes when you know they are taking advantage, you know where to draw the line. Yeah.
Good for sharing that. Again, is that it looks like for Tan and Jackie, for both of you, you're not concerned about making money at all. There's no mention about.
I always believe it's a concern. We have to feed the family, But I believe that's a basic thing we have to do, I always believe that. Yeah.
Again, you're thinking about the client interest. You're actually getting the mind share that whenever they have a need in properties, they'll think about you, and then the business will come. So again, it's that as you begin to, again, it's the fact that because you took care of a client, you believe that at some point in time, the clients will also take care of you.
Yeah.
So today, if you only think about yourselves and not about your client, eventually, when let's say it won't go very far. These are all lifelong customers, people that actually with them for many years to go through that. So I'm going to pass over now. Now, you all don't go off yet because I'm going to go in and pass and have you all said maybe one advice later. But I'll pass over to the to make some announcements for those that are here before I come back to Jackie and Tan to share one last advice they have for the people.
Sorry, there is another question from Anita to Jackie. Do you give referral fee to those people referring closed deals to you?
No, I don't practice that actually. I don't want to be a habit to them unless they ask. Provided they ask me first, they want referral. Otherwise, I will not give referral because I know that they are from sincere heart to help me, to support me in my business, my client. Yeah.
So instead of not giving referral, do you practice like take them out for teh tarik?
Oh,
or,
yes.
Right,
Actually, most of them became my friend actually, no more my client. Yeah.
Again, it's like, if you want referral, you have to be upfront with Jackie.
Yes,
You
upfront.
cannot come in between and say that towards the end you want something.
Yeah, I prefer everything upfront. Be honest.
Upfront, tell her basically, if you close the deal, one is 10, 20%. If she agrees, she works on it. Now, if you feel like basically it's not something she wants to do, she will not do that. So again, that's a good principle to follow with whatever you're doing. If you pass a referral to someone to do it, specify exactly what you want, so there's no
Yes.
dispute later on.
Yes.
That's good to do that. Okay, can we pass over to make the small and then come back to both of them in shortly.
Okay, I hope you guys have enjoyed the session with George. Thank you, George. We just want to make a few announcements. We just want to send a reminder that today there is going to be the KW Command Campaigns Workshop where Marcus and Xiumin will take you guys through how to set up and sync your Facebook lead. So if you have not registered for that registration link, it's still available, it's still open. Please do so that the MCS can send you the Zoom link for this afternoon session. Okay, this is also a calendar for next week's training. In that same registration, you can also register for the rest of the trainings. Right, next. Charles, next. Okay. If you are interested to get our books, these are the pricing for the books. Feel free to just drop us a message at hello@redfield.com and we will process your orders for you. And we will also see how we can arrange to deliver the books to you. I think there's a delivery fees should be maybe 5 ringgit. This is because the market centers are currently not open. Right, next. Metapod, we still have cameras available, and this promotion is still open exclusively only for Redfield or KW Malaysia agents. Now, if you have friends who are also in the industry and is wanting to sign up for Metapod, they can do so through us. They will get the same promo offer and they too will get the same benefit of getting the free Metapod camera and monopod. So not too late to sign up. Email me at christine.ong@kwmalaysia.com. Next. We have new t-shirts that is about to arrive next week together with our also new mask, customized mask. So I think your market center support would have already shared with you all about this. So please do purchase them. This offer is only until the 3rd of November, so that is only next week. After that, the price will increase back to normal. So grab your chance right now and purchase the bundles, or you can purchase it individually. If you want to find out what the shirt sizes are, I've also actually sent the image of the measurements of it. You can get it from your market center support. Right? Yeah, these are the prices for the individual items and as well as bundles. All right, thank you for tuning in. I'll pass the time now to George. I think George wants to have
Correct.
Mr. Tan and Jackie say some last
Now,
words, right?
it's very important. Let me just recap a little bit. I had them share the last advice for all of you, because the initially I started off is always three buckets. The lead generation important, building a database important, and then the last part is where you have a sales pipeline to follow through. And there's a process to go in. Success is actually not an event. Success is a process of following through your appointments, getting the agreements, getting the contract, and then eventually closing. And after you close, don't forget, that is the best time to ask for referral, because you've done a fantastic job. Don't stop there, and so take advantage of that one. Go for the post-sale closing and close a second time. And ask them, do you know of someone that basically can go in and that might need my services the same way I help you, or you can refer another 5 more people that can actually talk to that will want my services. Very important. Success is not an event, but it's actually a process. Again, it's success basically also leaves clues. Success here, Gary Keller says this: your fear of the fear of failure should be greater than your fear of lead generation. So if you want to make money and you want to be successful, that fear of failing should be greater than your fear of actually lead generation. Some of us are fearful to talk to people, to work through that, but you need to do that, because if you don't lead generate consistently, you're not able to go in and see the success that you want. Make sure you do that one. Again, is the success I say basically is routine and boring. Things that they are doing one is, it sounds exciting that when they share it, but actually it's a mundane day-to-day job that they are doing. So if you want to be successful, you need to go in and do the same thing, following up with the clients, working with them is a routine, but the routine itself and the habit eventually will get you to where you can be very successful. Okay. So keep that in mind, basically, because the three things, lead generation, follow-up, and closing, all happens at the same time. You need to go in and be good in all of them. Now, at some point in time, you might want to leverage and see basically whether you'll be part of a team that can help you. We'll probably do a session basically on what exactly does a team look like, and what exactly do you need to become in order for a team to be successful. Because many agents work together, but somehow if you cannot click with the other agents, maybe you need to figure out why. And what can you change, or what can the dynamics change in order for you to be successful? Now, a lot of agents will make a lot of mistakes at this point in time. Now, what can you give, what advice can you give them, Jackie and Tan, for them to avoid that? What advice do you think they need to focus on today? They are one thing to focus on today so that they don't make their mistakes to be successful this year. What is your one advice, Jackie?
My one advice, you have to be one only. I had to share.
Oh, please, I know.
Of course, you have to be patient. You have to be wise. All right, and you have to be a tech-enabled agent.
That means you have to move the tech and embrace technology.
Embrace the technology. I think that's very important. That's where I'm lacking.
Technology will not replace you, but again, is that if you don't embrace it, basically you can actually become redundant.
Yeah.
Because the market is moving very fast.
Yeah.
Good, huh? What about yourself, Tan? What would be advice that you give to the PPA today?
Very similar to Jackie, because actually, for me, I focus a lot on servicing. And to add to what Miss Jackie said, we have to be very patient. This is very important. But occasionally, I don't want to be patient, because once I patient, then I lost my business. I got to do it immediately. So we have to be a little bit flexible on that. Like my second case, if I'm patient a bit, then I may lose my because in industry it's like that. It's very fast moving. I'm not sure about residential. So whatever is fast moving, certain time we have to do it immediately. But certain time got no choice. We have to be like Miss Jackie, got to be very patient and enjoy the patient.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all.
And again, I think just to echo what you're saying, Tan, is that I think even though you are kanchiong, I want to help the clients, but the patient is there. But because you have built a relationship with them already, you're just helping them to make decisions faster. Because some of our clients, depending on their personality, they need help to make that decision. So I think as agents, we need to facilitate the decision process also, to help them look at options that they have so that they can make a right decision. We don't force a sale to the client, while we help them make decisions by providing options for them. So I see that you provide options for them to consider, to think through, so they can make a decision. If they don't make the decision fast, they'll miss that opportunity. So I think in some ways, you are also thinking about the client's behalf, what they can do better and how they can service them. So again, it's patient, it's a virtue, but at the same time, at some point, you need to go in, build on a relationship, and then advise the client how they can go in and become successful. Now, thanks a lot, Jackie and Tan, for sharing with us. Thanks a lot for all of you coming in to
Thank you.
share. Join us basically for the rest of the training one. Wish you all the best. Take care. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot,
Bye,
panelists. Thanks,
everyone.
Jackie.
you.
Thanks, Tan.
Bye.
Good job,
Thank you.
man.
Thank
Take care.
you.